So recently, a couple of my friends have been asking whether or not to purchase shares of a company before or after a stock split. Recently, there's been developments from major corporations, Apple and Tesla, explaining they will undergo a stock split in the coming weeks. In this video, I want to go over what a stock split means, what that entails for you, the investor, and whether or not to purchase before or after the stock split. If you haven't already, please go hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. I'm doing lots of videos like this, tons of personal finance videos, stock analysis, IPOs, EV stocks, tech stocks, all things personal finance. I do the work so you don't have to. So go hit that subscribe and absolutely demolish that like button. I really would appreciate it. Helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So as I was just saying, Tesla has announced a stock split going into effect August 31st, just 3 days after Apple's own stock split. Coincidence? I don't know. So what's important for investors to know is that you don't actually make any sort of money on a stock split. Nothing essentially changes. So in Tesla's case, the 5-to-1 stock split means that for every one share you own before the stock split, this one share will break apart into 5 smaller portions, all summating into the total value of one share pre-stock split. Each of the new 5 shares are now worth 1/5 of the original value, or 80% less. However, you will have 5 times the amount of shares. Makes sense, it's pretty easy. For simplicity's sake, let's say you owned one share of Tesla at $2,000 pre-stock split. After the stock split, you would then own 5 shares worth $400 each. Tesla is obviously known to be a very unpredictable company. You shouldn't be surprised by anything this company does. So why are they doing this stock split? So for one, it opens up a greater share of the market. By lowering the cost per share, you are increasing the market of people who are able to actually purchase shares. Tesla's share price is really high right now, and it's far more likely you'll be able to afford, let's say, a $300 or $400 stock instead of a $1,500 stock. There is so much hype around this stock right now, and I think this stock split will play perfectly into Tesla's hand. They are also undergoing this stock split to squander criticism that their share price is way too diluted, way overvalued, and by bringing it down, it just looks better on them. As a company, they're more affordable, more people can join in on the fun. They are essentially trying to avoid a situation akin to Berkshire Hathaway Class A stocks, which are nearing $300,000 per share because they have never undergone a stock split. Looking at other companies who have performed stock splits before, there's a fundamental pattern that starts to emerge. There is the initial surge in valuation upon the announcement of the stock split itself. This is usually the highest surge in valuation. So with that being said, if you aren't a current investor of Tesla, you may have missed out on some of this valuation surge already. This is typically followed by somewhat of an incline up to the actual day of the stock split, typically followed by another surge in valuation on the stock split day itself. It then tends to peter off, being a little sluggish or even seeing a slight correction in the following days and weeks, putting the share price fairly close to its original trajectory. So in my opinion, in the grand scheme of things, thinking only long term, you as an investor should be more focused and attentive to the current and future business operations of the company, whether or not they are viable, whether or not they have more room for growth, rather than this short-term psychological speculation. I really don't see it making a long-term impact whether or not you buy before or after the stock split. Obviously, money in the market is better than no money in the market, so typically the sooner the better. However, if you want to invest in Tesla and you can't afford this massive share price, I don't think there's too much harm in waiting until after the stock split. You are obviously risking a larger sum of capital if you purchase prior to the stock split. So if you are unsure, don't want to lose any sleep, I don't think there's any harm in waiting until after the stock split. However, with more risk comes more reward. Some brokerages will also allow you to purchase fractional shares, so if you do want to get in before the stock split yet can't afford that crazy price, you may benefit from looking into fractional shares where you purchase, 0.2, 0.5% of a share. I wouldn't be surprised in the least to see Tesla continue on this trajectory they're on. However, this is Tesla, and unfortunately with this company, almost all rules are out the door, especially with Elon Musk at its helm. So going to Tesla's balance sheet, they have a fairly high beta of 1.30, showing slightly higher volatility than the overall market. They have an incredibly high PE ratio of 854.40 and a solid earnings per share of 1.93. They are a large cap company with a market cap of $307.63 billion. I think there is a lot of hype already priced into this current share price. However, it's Tesla. The hype continues. They bought a one-way ticket on the hype train to Hypeville. So we could see that when Tesla announced, their shares rose by over 13%. It's important to note that all these investors who did purchase additional shares on that day are believing that the stock split will become favorable for them in the short to medium term future. They are believing that a share price 1/5 of its value will now open up the floodgates, allowing so many more investors to come in and purchase additional shares, hopefully surging the share price even more in the short term. I would not be surprised to see many people selling off in the days following the stock split, trying to get a quick buck. However, I'm a long-term investor, so for me, it doesn't really matter whether I purchase before or after. I'm not worried about the short-term volatility, these news briefings, nothing of that matter too much. It might go way up, it might go way down. There could be a sell-off, who knows? But long term, I see massive things for this company. I love Tesla. I love their cars. I believe in their product. They're one of my favorite companies, and I really do see massive things for them in the future. So that being said, this short-term speculation and psychology priced into the share price does not affect me whatsoever. The point I'm trying to make here is it's important not to purchase shares strictly out of hype or speculation or short-term psychological impacts. You instead should try to gather as much information about the business models, the company, the product, the management team, where you see the company in the future to formulate your own opinion and come to your own conclusions rather than getting sucked into all this hype. Try to get emotion out of the picture. I know it's easier said than done, but try using a cost dollar averaging scheme. Look for large cap companies with great management and you should be good to go, and stop worrying about the short-term volatility and psychological impacts of short-term investing. That being said, I do see the stock split as good news for Tesla investors, and I think more than anything, this is just really good for its business model. They're getting so much free advertising out of the stock split, which is going to draw even more people towards their fabulous products. I love Tesla long term. I'm extremely bullish on them. They're one of my favorite companies. I love their products. I'm going to make a video going over their current and future business operations in a much more in-depth analysis in the coming weeks, so make sure you hit that subscribe. Anyways guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope this gave some clarity to the entire matter. Make sure you stay objective when investing. Don't get too wrapped up in all this hype and the short-term volatility. It's best if you think long-term. Anyways guys, thanks so much for watching. That's it for me. Absolutely demolish that like button. It really does help out with the YouTube algorithm. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.